Tonight, filled to the brim with burning tyres. The tanks go up in flames along the air highway. And a zero-tolerance approach for antisocial behaviour in Port Augusta.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf Studios, your nightly news with Madeline Kerr begins now.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. First tonight, a popular rest stop between Whyalla and Port Augusta has gone up in flames this morning. The waste fire, which took place within 2 15-metre tall tanks, has been deemed suspicious by police. Edward McCarroll was on the scene.
Here in a parking bay along the air highway, a fire broke out in the early hours of this morning, continuing to burn well into midday. The raging inferno first taking hold in the darkness of 2 a.m, fully engulfing 2 disused concrete tanks at Lincoln Gap.
Committed to the fire at the Lincoln Gap area, over.
With the contents alight, 6 CFS and 3 MFS trucks were deployed to stop the high flames from spreading. This drone vision shows the contents of the decommissioned water tanks. They're filled to the brim with discarded car tyres, prompting the CFS to issue a toxic smoke warning for the fire, causing concern amongst local motorists who were confronted with this large column of smoke on their morning commute. With crews able to fight back the fire, both the Air and Lincoln highways were slowly reopened to traffic. Crime scene investigators have attended the scene and deemed the fire suspicious. Anyone with information or dashcam footage that may assist police is asked to contact Crime Stoppers. With the current heatwave increasing the risk of fires, the CFS is reminding residents to remain vigilant and follow the relevant fire bans.
Edward McCarroll reporting there. The Mayor of Port Augusta says she's exasperated with the city's ongoing antisocial behaviour crisis. Lindley Shine says zero tolerance needs to be applied, while the major political parties bicker over what needs to be done.
As the antisocial crisis in Port Augusta continues, the city's mayor has had enough.
We do need a huge circuit breaker. We need to really also be adopting zero tolerance. The reality is we are over this, and we really, Port Augusta City Council will work with whoever we need to work with to get this under control, but it does need attention.
Mayor Shine, angry the City Council has already had to place age restrictions for unaccompanied minors at the Ryan Mitchell pool just days after it reopened.
We've had to also go ahead and look at having a security person up there on site, because obviously the safety of our users and obviously our staff is really, really important. So it is a real unfortunate thing.
The state government says it's responding to local concerns, with Minister for Aboriginal Affairs, Kayam Ma, pointing to the SA Voice to Parliament as crucial.
Absolutely convinced that programs that are designed for Aboriginal people or issues that Aboriginal people face only work well when Aboriginal people are instrumental in their design.
But the Liberals at a state and federal level argue the problems aren't being fixed.
If there are problems that need addressing now in local communities, then we've got to be prepared to walk hand in hand with senior community people to achieve those improved outcomes.
The state government came in after the election and said we're going to restart the program that was there before, and it doesn't seem to be having much of an impact. There's obviously the alcohol restrictions which have now spread to Whyalla, but still we've got a problem.
A problem that needs urgent attention. Daniel Pizarro, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Hospitals are moving on from the days of paper documents and even online records. Thanks to an innovative telehealth platform, regional South Australians will be given the best shot at recovery after experiencing a stroke.
The cloud has been a lifesaver when it comes to accessing photos and documents online from anywhere. And now the medical world is utilising that technology through a platform called Zeus.
Zeus provides one platform for the neurologists involved in the SA Telestroke service to go in, and they can access it from anywhere on any device.
Therefore, when a stroke patient presents, the local health team can get in contact with a neurologist who will be able to access the brain scans and consultation records straight away, saving precious time.
Time is really vital when it comes to brain cells and in stroke. So every minute counts. What it also does, it's fabulous in improving relationships between the regional doctors and clinical teams and the neurologists based in Adelaide.
Regional South Australians are 17% more likely to suffer a stroke compared with those living in metropolitan areas, due to a high-risk population and lack of resources. There have been over 440 service calls using the Zeus platform since it was introduced last year. And by the end of this year, hospitals like Port Pirie will have access to this life-changing technology. Annabella Francis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Marred by a tragedy on Monday, the Lincoln Regatta has continued as planned. Earlier this week, a man in his 60s died in a boating accident near the marina, but today the festivities wrapped up.
Despite Monday's tragedy, sailors in Port Lincoln have been busy during the 73rd annual Lincoln Week Regatta, but now it's time to kick back and relax.
Everyone has had a great regatta. As sad as it was to start with, it was great that we finished the regatta, got all the races in. People have come from all over Australia for it.
If you're into sailing, it truly is the centre of the universe. You have to come here. People come from all over the world. They take part in this regatta and they just love it.
And why is it the centre of the universe?
Everyone just loves coming here, the beautiful climate, the great sailing breezes and friendly people.
Many go as far as to say this is the best racing in the world.
Everywhere I've been, I've tried to convince boats from all states to come and race in Lincoln. I think it's some of the best racing that I've ever done. It's not as high stakes as some of the other races, but there's still just as much competitiveness and just as much fun.
If you think sailing might float your boat, it seems Port Lincoln is the place to be. Alison Hall, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Still to come tonight, gathering to discuss exciting projects in the regions. Port Augusta West hosts the Meet the Buyer Forum. And UniSA's newest students get their first taste of uni life in Whyalla. Welcome back. Members and representatives of Port Augusta's industrial sector have gathered for a Meet the Buyer Forum in Port Augusta West. Companies relayed updates on various projects underway in the region, while others expressed their excitement about expanding business prospects.
Escaping the summer heat, a large crowd gathered at the West Augusta Football Club to network and hear the latest business plans at the Global Maintenance Meet the Buyer Forum.
Honoured to be invited to speak, tell the 150 odd people who turned up today about our project. It's exciting. And it's, you can feel the energy, people looking to, further develop Port Augusta.
The state's railway network, particularly in the Upper Spencer Gulf, could be the key to expanding business.
Well, we hope to. We started a business in 2004 called Bowman's Rail, like 3 companies there. It's now been privatised, and we see Port Augusta as a real opportunity, and we want to start here, Playford Intermodal.
As a technology business, we're looking to establish manufacturing facilities. In South Australia is certainly a place of interest for us.
The forum has also helped to boost confidence in the local economy, as Port Augusta stands to benefit dramatically from hundreds of millions of dollars in investments over the next few years. Daniel Pizarro, 7 Spencer Golf News.
The University of South Australia's Whyalla campus has celebrated O Week today, with students getting ready to tackle the year ahead. The university says it's great to see so many smiling faces, with enrolment numbers doubling since last year.
Back to the books. It's O Week at UniSA Whyalla, and the campus is welcoming back their 2023 cohort for another year of study. In amongst the crowd today, a new wave of motivated tertiary students.
So career progression, I want to go further with my nursing studies and potentially even go further from there.
All the fresh faces and anxious faces that came to campus this morning, I think we've supported them to understand what they're going to be doing in their programs. They're meeting their peers and their staff.
Equipped with their new ID cards and welcome bags, the students were in and out of seminars showing them how to get the most out of uni. And in the breaks, there was plenty of time for fun as well.
They go on a scavenger hunt to get to know each other and learn their way around the campus. We've got some prizes. We've got a luncheon where they can all get together, and we've got a few more competitions happening. So, yeah, all in all, it's a really fun day.
Senior students welcoming the newbies and showing them the perks of studying in the regions.
It's a great option because obviously I live and work in Whyalla, so you are able to attend obviously lectures and the uni, and they're here 2 minutes down the road.
Staff say today's big turnout can be attributed to the strong lineup of degrees the uni is offering.
It's fantastic that we've got some new degrees, the new midwifery degree, Bachelor of Secondary Education, some social science degrees. So we're chock-a-block full of programs here at UniSA Whyalla.
Edwin McCarroll, 7 Spencer Golf News.
More than 50,000 apprentices, trainees and university students living in regional areas of New South Wales are in for a financial boost. The state government is trialling an initiative to help make travel, work and study a bit easier. Our reporter Joshua Mercer has more.
Trade apprentices aged between 16 and 66 can apply for the new travel card worth a cool $250 each, easing the pressure on regional apprentices and students. The travel card is part of a state government program, helping beginner tradies cover the cost of fuel, taxis and public transport. The card is similar to the Seniors Travel Card, which began circulating back in 2019. The hip pocket relief comes after a successful trial in Dubbo. The card will come in handy for people in the far west, with petrol prices on the rise again in some areas. And with limited public transport available in regional centres, it will make the trek to work and study that little bit easier. Applications for university students open at the end of April, when enrolments have been confirmed, while apprentices and trainees have until November 30 to apply by visiting the Service New South Wales website or app. The Regional Apprentice and University Travel Card is set to run for 2 years, finishing at the end of 2024.
Thanks, Josh. Stay with us after the break. Better than ever. Visitor spending in the YP at an all-time high. And raising money for sick kids in a joyful, colourful way. Why Sturt Park is the place to be this weekend. Welcome back. The Yorke Peninsula is known for having some of the best beaches in the world. So it's no surprise it's a popular spot for tourists. So much so that the visitor expenditure is at an all-time high.
The Yorke Peninsula is no longer the hidden gem of South Australia. And with high visitation figures comes substantial investment in the region.
The figures that were released recently showed that guests into the Yorke Peninsula spent $319 million in that year up to September 2022, which is an extraordinary figure. I had to keep checking that the numbers were right.
For many South Australians, there is something nostalgic about the small country towns, which keeps them coming back.
Consistently, I hear from folks saying to me, I remember coming, with my granddad when I was a little kid, and now I take my own children and my own grandchildren as well.
And although the towns are small, they have everything the big cities have.
Quirky cafes that open up, beautiful little brunch spots. All of that is kind of in the offering mix, which I think is really fantastic as well.
In terms of tourism, things are only heating up, with the launch of the 2023 Strategic Tourism Action Plan.
We're talking about tourism products and experiences, ways that guests can come into our region and book a tour, book a hosted experience that really allows them to immerse themselves in the best of the Yorke Peninsula.
Annabella Francis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Some colour will be added to Sturt Park this Sunday as the Ride for Sick Kids charity holds its annual colour run. The money raised will go to the Ronald McDonald House in Adelaide.
Set to reach a sunny top of 33 degrees. It will be the perfect day to head out and about and paint Sturt Park all the colours of the rainbow.
It's a walk, it's a run, it's just a meet and greet and have some fun during the day. But we've got our meat, we've got our drinks, we've got everyone, all our volunteers ready. So yeah, we're ready to go.
The Colour Run is the third charity event raising money for Ronald McDonald House Adelaide. Late last year, Ride for Sick Kids held a quiz night, which required attendees to get their thinking caps on.
Our last fundraiser was a trivia night, ending in last year's events. Very successful night. Great crowd was had, and yeah, really good time had by everyone there.
Come Sunday, a 1 kilometre track will be marked out at the park.
You can, it's just basically at your own pace, at your own leisure. You can walk it, you can run it, you can bring your dogs, you can bring your kids, prams, bikes, whatever. Little bikes, not big bikes.
Organisers have no doubt the community will come out and support the worthy cause.
It's an amazing charity. We do have a lot of people from Broken Hill and the surrounding areas that do use the house quite a lot, so we're pretty lucky in our community is very supportive. We do raise a lot of money for these sick and ill kids.
Registration is at 9 a.m, with the run starting at 10 a.m. Joshua Mercer, 7, Spencer Gulf News.
An extra incentive is on offer for residents in Broken Hill studying nursing or medicine, with applications now underway for the Fay Newell Scholarship. Every year, the winning recipient receives $5,000 to encourage excellence in education and training. Ms Newell started her nursing career in the Far West Local Health District back in 1954 before passing away in 2020. Applications can be done online. Stay with us after the break. You name it, we've probably got it. Where to find garfish, whiting and blue swimmer crab this weekend. And a cool change is coming. We'll have the weather details with Alex Sykes. Welcome back. With the temperatures set to drop to more bearable conditions this weekend, it might be the perfect time to grab the tackle box and wet a line. Here's this week's Fish and Tips.
Hi, whalers fishing tips this week. Crabs certainly have heated up right across Whyalla. We have had a little slump in numbers in the past week, but they should be running good again. Land-based crab raking out Cowlitz Landing, most people have achieved a good feed there. There's also some good yellowfin whiting to be caught out there as well. Best to head out on the low tide and fish the afternoon on the incoming tide. Same as the foreshore, late in the evening, fish the incoming tides, also getting a few yellowfin whiting there and a few big crabs amongst them. Off the local jetty, most anglers hitting good feeds of crabs. There has been some nice Tommy Ruffs coming from there at night time as well. For the boaties, not many King George whiting coming in. Big numbers of crabs. The best areas to target for the crabs have been north of Whyalla, out front of the silt grounds and the blast furnace area.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fish and Tips from Port Augusta at Jewel North. Well, pretty bog stock standard for summertime at the moment. Silver whiting out in those middle banks on the low tides and also along the shack there on the low tides as well. Quite big and plump too. The crabs are around in great numbers, but they're not real big at the moment. And if you can, chuck those she-backs back as well. There is some snook up around Port Patterson and some salmon around there, and Chinaman Creek has a school of salmon around it as well. That's all we have from the Jewel of the North.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. We'll start up off the coast of Tumby Bay, and the group has been fishing really well for whiting over the past week. There's also some good sized garfish and some nice sized snook out that way as well. Back down to the bay here in Lincoln, the main catch has been some garfish around the shallow fringes, good sized gar, and blue crabs again. Once again, down into the proper bay has been the best spot for the blueies. The best reports of whiting over the past week around the Lincoln area have been down the passage and down at Thistle Island. There's been a bit of tuna news over the past weeks. There's been some fish caught around the cages. Remember, you have to be outside of the lease zone. And there has been some tuna caught down towards Low Rocks and also the Cabbage Patch. There's also some nice red snapper and blue morwong down in that area as well. Well, that's all for Fishing Tips this week, and we'll see you again next week.
Blue morwong and red snapper at the Cabbage Patch. Noted. It's time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather with Alex Sykes. Alex, another incredibly hot day.
Maddie, Port Lincoln had its warmest day since January 2020, recording 42.8 at 1:35 this afternoon. Port Augusta and Woodna also reaching 43 degrees earlier this afternoon. Temperatures in the 40s across the region today, except for Broken Hill, reaching 35 there. Taking a look at the satellite image now, a high pressure system is bringing northerly winds over South Australia, while a low pressure trough will move across from the west on Friday. On the Gulf waters tomorrow, a strong wind warning is in place. Northeasterly winds 15 to 25 knots in the morning, seas between 1 and 2 metres, and south to southwesterly swell also between 1 and 2 metres. Partly cloudy in Port Lincoln tomorrow, set to reach a high of 34 degrees there. Possible storms in Cleve and Woodna. A cool change will sweep over Whyalla and Port Augusta tomorrow afternoon, after reaching 42 degrees during the day. Wind easing and a top of 40 in Kadina, becoming windy, and a top of 41 in Port Pirie. Partly cloudy and 38 in Clare, and mostly sunny and 37 in Broken Hill. Taking a look further through the week now, significantly cooler on Saturday. Windy, top of 24 in Whyalla, 26 in Port Augusta, Port Lincoln and Kadina, 28 in Port Pirie. Sunnier conditions on Sunday and a bit warmer too. Blue skies and 29 in Port Augusta and Port Pirie, 25 in Whyalla and Adelaide, partly cloudy and 27 in Port Lincoln and Kadina. Warmer again on Monday, sunny and 32 in Woodna and Port Augusta. And that's all the weather from me for tonight. I'll see you a little later with an update. Back to you, Maddie.
Thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Thursday. I'm Madeline Kerr. From all of us here, thanks for joining us. I'll have updates a little later, but until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.